Jai Shri Krishna, Jai Shri Ramachandra, Jai Shri Lakshmi Nrsimha. So, today I will be speaking about a very important planetary formation which is known as the Kalasarpa Yoga. It means the snake of time, and it is a very symbolic, very powerful yoga that affects everything on the earth. And of course, it has profound impact on the material world as well as our spiritual lives. And I'm going to explain the major concepts relating to the economy, COVID-19, natural disasters, and the overall prosperity and well-being of the people over the next few months and the next few years, considering that we are living in a very stark and powerful time and completely new era. To start with, I have already spoken about this yoga in my previous videos a couple of times, but I've not explained it in detail, the technical details behind it and its exact effects. So I took the occasion today to explain this to all of you, and since many people have requested me repeatedly to explain this in detail. In my previous videos, one of them dated October 22nd, 2021, I had explained how starting December 10th, 2021, there will be a lot of problems, including natural disasters, famine, floods, exacerbation of COVID-19, an increase in COVID-19, and other major issues as explained in that particular video. So the exact time frame was around starting December 10, 2021. We are seeing several events that are playing out during this time frame, particularly just for example, a very unfortunate and saddening event starting December 10, of course, December 11th, the very next day, we had a powerful tornado outbreak in Midwestern United States, completely rare as it was during the winter when the cool weather generally prevents tornadoes. But we had such a powerful tornado, and it is very saddening to hear that at least 100 people have been dead after the tornadoes. And of course, this is a warning from Mother Nature, and we need to start working on these warnings. And if that's not enough, just the next day, just a few days later, December 14, when the Kalasarpa Yoga actually begins, a powerful earthquake struck Indonesia, and it also, of course, no damage was done, but certainly this earthquake was of the magnitude 7.7, which is again a stark warning from Mother Nature. And despite having such a powerful magnitude, not much damage was done, and that is certainly a powerful warning that we all must take. And going forward to the next issue, which is again very important, what exactly is the Kalasarpa Yoga? The Kalasarpa Yoga is a manifestation of the divine serpent in the zodiac. It is basically just to explain to all of you, the divine serpent, the Kalasarpa, the serpent of time, as explained in our scriptures, is gripping the zodiac in the form of the north node and the south node of the moon, known as Rahu and Ketu, invisible points. They're not imaginary points, but invisible points, having a lot of impact on people's personal lives as well as the whole world. So these 2 points are known as Rahu and Ketu, and they are exactly 180 degrees apart from each other all the time. There's the north node and the south node. And the Kalasarpa Yoga is formed when all the planets are basically stuck or entrenched within the axis of the Kalasarpa Yoga, that is Rahu and Ketu. And that is when this formation comes into picture, and it has a lot of effects on our mundane lives as well as our personal lives. So let's get into detail. How exactly is it formed? As already mentioned, all the planets get stuck between Rahu and Ketu. To name these bodies, not exactly, all of them are not exactly planets. For example, we have the sun and the moon, luminaries, but all of them are grahas in Sanskrit. The sun, the moon, Mars, Mercury, Jupiter, Venus, Saturn, Rahu, and Ketu are all the grahas involved in this, including this time Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. And that's what makes this particular yoga extremely powerful. Moving on to the next subject, let's look at what impact it has on the extreme weather events. Generally, a Kalasarpa Yoga accompanies strong weather events and gives us stark warnings. For example, 4 days before the Kalasarpa Yoga began, we had a volcano outbreak in the Sumeru mountain. It's not an ordinary volcano. The Sumeru mountain is regarded as a very holy mountain by several Hindus living in Indonesia. And this mountain, this volcano erupted, and it actually caused the death of 48 people, which is another unfortunate event, but a stark warning from Mother Nature. And next, we also had, as already mentioned, an earthquake, a very powerful earthquake, a 7.7 magnitude earthquake. And we also had a tornado. So maybe all the elements of Mother Nature are warning us one by one. And we need to take these warnings. And I'm going to explain what I feel are, the reasons behind these warnings. Moving on to the next subject, let's look at the impact that this has on the economy. The economy is certainly going to be affected over the next 6 months overall. December to May is going to be a powerful time frame, and it will take more time for the world to recover from this sort of a formation, because each one of these events that we are seeing today are extremely powerful. For example, it's not yet been an year since we had the Great Conjunction that happened last year around December 19 to 27, 2020. And it's just not even a month since we had the longest partial lunar eclipse in 580 years. And now we have the Kalasarpa Yoga, which is again a rare event because of Uranus, Neptune and Pluto all also being within the axis. It's not easy to get all the planets within only 180 degrees of the zodiac. And that's exactly what's happening this time. So the economy is certainly going to be affected over the next 6 months, particularly between March and April 2022, as I've already mentioned in my previous videos. Several important events over the next few months may rule the economic relations between humans for many years to come, and that's another major game changer overall. So one important dynamic that I would like to touch upon in today's video is government control over the lives of people and how it's going to increase during the Kalasarpa Yoga. We've seen this. It's a historic incident. It's not a coincidence. It's a very powerful thing. The government control increases drastically over the people during Kalasarpa Yogas. And this is something that I have observed. And just for an example, 28th February 2020, last year, we had the Kalasarpa Yoga. I think that was the day when the transformation of each and every human's lives began. Government started locking down everyone. The economy was shattered, and there was a jaw-dropping fall in the stock markets. And the economy was in so much fear. The people were panicking, and the overall situation was so precarious. And I think the same situation is repeating today. Media fear-mongering, and the economy almost going into an abyss of problematic situations, and the government's control expanding and expanding. I'm not talking about one country, but the entire world. So we are basically having so many situations dynamically cooperating in order to create a mega situation that is going to affect the world over the next 6 months. Even if it does not have prominent immediate effects, it's going to have a profound effect on the world for several months to come. It's not going to happen immediately, but it's happening behind the scenes, and it's going to come out very soon. But around March to April 2022, it's going to be pretty much evident for most people. It's going to affect every single area of our lives, and let's look at one of them being the cryptocurrencies. Let's just touch upon this issue. Government regulation will increase very powerfully, and instead of calling it regulation, I would just like to tell you people what exactly it might happen according to astrological research. It's indirect centralization of the decentralized finance movement. And that's exactly what regulation means. So the crypto market is certainly in for very gloomy days, and the crypto mania which is going on now is certainly going to get regulated and stiffened up, and I think there is going to be a transformation even in the crypto environment. And moving forward, the government is going to certainly put in place several so-called COVID appropriate measures, and this will certainly cause an unnecessary sabotage of the economy. And I'm also going to explain in the next few minutes what's going on for COVID-19 and Omicron and what exactly I think is going to happen in that space for the next few months and how the people's lives will be impacted by that. But for now, COVID appropriate measures are certainly going to be put in place. This includes lockdown, and so I feel most of these are COVID inappropriate measures, but they've been labeled as COVID appropriate measures. But anyways, of course, these situations are going to come into place, and people are going to be very scared because of the new variant, and I'm going to explain that also in the next few minutes. And then we're going to the next subject, the COVID-19 situation. The COVID-19 situation is certainly going to develop rapidly from now onwards. And as I've already mentioned in my video dated October 22nd, starting in the second wave of starting in the second week of December 2021, we are likely to see a bigger wave that will affect countries across the world, mainly in highly vaccinated geographies. Apologies for the wrong sentence there. I do not mean irrespective of vaccination, but mainly in highly vaccinated geographies. So this is what I see. Starting in the second week of December, we're going to see a rapid development in terms of COVID-19, and several waves also are going to come into picture in the near future. And why I feel highly vaccinated geographies, I don't exactly mean just the highly vaccinated geographies, but also countries that are pushing actively for vaccination, including India. So I feel these are going to be the countries to be affected the most, especially our country, India. It is very unfortunate, of course, but not as horrible as the second wave that we had between March and May 2021 this year. It is going to be slightly mild, but it is going to have a profound impact on other countries. For India, it's going to be slightly mild than, say, other countries, because the overall situation of the country's astrological position is quite better to an extent than, say, other countries. When I say other countries, I mean Europe, the United States, and several other regions across the world are going to experience the wave. And this is something I've already mentioned in the previous video, so let's move to the next slide. Now, coming to the next point, several people have asked me about what I think about the Omicron variant. This is what I had said in April 2020. Starting November 21st, 2021, there will be invisible recovery from COVID-19. Most of us might not be able to see it. Last year, repeatedly, I've mentioned this even in a video dated December 2020. I had explained what I believe as invisible recovery from COVID-19. And so some people might think, how are these statements? Two statements seem contradictory. I first say that there is going to be an invisible recovery from COVID-19, and the second statement immediately says that there is going to be a newer wave of COVID-19, which I just mentioned. So what exactly does it mean? What I feel is that Omicron is the beginning of the end of COVID-19, and it's actually a bitter medicine for the future of COVID. So this is what I believe. But the jabbed population or geographies are likely to get injured by this. And so therefore there is going to be a wave, but mainly it's going to affect people, the jabbed population. And Omicron is basically the beginning of the end of COVID, because it's equipping, it's actually giving us the natural solution towards the end of COVID-19. So I think COVID-19 is coming to an end by around another 1 year, by May 2022. So it's the beginning of the end, and it should actually be welcome. But countries worldwide are spreading fear too much, and I think that is going to cause problems for the economy as well as for people's lives. And certainly this is not going to be mild for people who are jabbed. Moving on to the next subject, let's look at how we can reduce the intensity of most of these problems. Of course, the Kalasarpa yoga is going to change our lives in many ways. COVID-19 is going to be drastically taken forward, and as already mentioned, it is going to affect the world, but it is actually a positive thing also at the same time. Just that the next 6 months are going to be very bad. After that, I think there will be a lot of improvement, and I hope and pray and wish that that is the case. And moving forward, let's look at a solution. Well, everything depends on this one thing. We are answerable for every one of our actions, and we are answerable to our victims. We are answerable to God for destroying his creation, polluting the earth, massacring animals, destroying the lives of animals, putting them in extreme pain, extreme torture, is a part and parcel of every human's life in this dark age. And I think it's time that people realize and understand from Mother Nature that every animal is like a brother and sister to humans. And we all must have compassion towards them and not destroy their lives so badly as we are doing it today. And I think all these warnings from Mother Nature, the natural disasters and so many things, are just but tiny warnings and just telling us, nudging us and requesting us to realize the truth. But if we don't, consequences are surely there. And this is quite imminent. So that's the reason why I request you all. I know that several people have already become vegetarians and have already started walking on the path of non-violence. Non-violence is not always equal to vegetarianism. Troubling cows for milk and packing them up in factories for milk is certainly violence, of course. So I'm talking about being a non-violent person, taking care of your own needs without harming creatures around you. If you would like to take milk, take it in a non-violent manner. And I'm going to explain that in a different video because many people asking this question certainly calls for a separate video on this subject. But again, it's important for us all to realize that karma is the very base of all our problems. And the solution to everything is also in karma. So start spreading kindness, love, happiness everywhere. Start spreading the truth and help people understand what's going to happen next. And I think that is also a very important thing. Help people to become more self-sustainable and set up your own self-sustainability. And one more important point is the best investments for 2022 will be gold and silver and agricultural land. Agricultural land not from the monetary perspective, but from the self-sustainability perspective, which is way more important than the monetary perspective. And yes, gold and silver are going to shine in 2022 because it's the year of course, Jupiter. It's the year of Jupiter and Venus being in Kumbh Rashi. And I think there is going to be a digital revolution in the gold and silver space also very soon, which will bring back gold and silver in the eyes of the common populace. And it is going to be a handy and powerful asset in these tough times. And of course, above all, please think of God always. Have faith in God and have faith in his creation. Have faith in, his name and his teachings. Thank you. Of course, no matter whichever religion you belong to, God is always the same. Thank you. Jai Shri Ramachandra, Jai Shri Krishna, Jai Shri Lakshmi Narasimha.